My name is Damian Godoy. I am from Queen Creek, Arizona. I joined the SubTo community 11 months ago, October 2024. I'm originally from Argentina. I came to the States in my senior year here to Mesa, Arizona. I went to serve a mission to South America, came back about when I was 22. I met my wife, Launi, who's here today, and we got married in 2005. We have 3 kids, and we met here in Mesa, but now we're in Queen Creek. And in 2006, I started flipping houses with my brother. We flipped several homes. We did pretty well. We bought some rentals. And then in 2008, the market changed, and we pretty much lost everything. We, including our own home, we had probably about 5 or 6 rentals. We had about 5, 6 projects going, and the market changed drastically, and we lost everything. In 2011, 2012, I went back to my wife and I said, "Hey, I think I want to go back to real estate." And her face was interesting, and she's been nothing but super supportive. So super supportive with all my craziness. I'm very passionate about real estate. So I started as a real estate agent, helping people buy and sell homes. Back then we had a lot of short sales, foreclosures, REO properties. And then when I came back and told her that I wanted to get back into real estate, I came up with a goal to buy 1 rental every year. And that started in 2011, is when we bought our first rental after we lost everything. In 2013, I decided to get my broker's license, and I started my own company, my own brokerage here in the Southeast Valley. We did really good, and almost with every single dollar that we made, we turned around and we started investing in multifamily. We started small with a duplex, and then a few single family residences, and then that transitioned to a fourplex, and then we bought at least 1 property every single year since 2011. So that's kind of our journey, a little bit of our journey. We used, we did really good, but I feel like you can go the route that I was going and you will eventually run out of resources. And when I say resources, I mean mainly capital.
What was the strategy you were using at the time?
Save for the next down payment. Usually the banks are gonna want 20 to 30% down on every investment property that you buy. Most of the properties that I bought back then are traditional financing. So I did really good. It gets to a point that you don't have any more money or any more capital, right? So in the journey of buying fourplexes, I even bought a 7plex. So we did good, but in that process, I came across the community, the SubTo community, and fell in love with the community first. And then I came across PACE's teachings, or the creative financing and all that. And
so you found through like YouTube and Instagram and stuff like that, or the Facebook group?
So I found it through videos that I was studying and practicing and using from Bigger Pockets. This is what I do, and I always, even though I've been doing it for a long time, I'm a realtor, I'm a real estate broker, I've been in residential, I've been in commercial real estate. I always want to learn more, and I always want to push myself. You can scale a lot faster. You can buy 1 house, which is 1 door at a time, or you can deal with multiple doors. I like fourplexes mainly because it's residential and you have different options for financing, and also when you have to liquidate the asset or you want to move to the next project, it's a lot easier to sell than a bigger project.
Wow.
So a fiveplex is you jumped to commercial already. So for a triplex or a duplex, you're dealing with residential. Well, the 24-unit apartment complex that we just bought is a portfolio of 6 different fourplexes. Okay, so when it comes to the city, the county, those are residential parcels, which means that it has 4 or less units in that property. When it comes to financing, to presenting it to a bank, also that's a residential parcel because it has 4 or less units. I bought a portfolio, so I bought 6 fourplexes, which it will be a way to say I bought 6 different residential properties. But you can combine, it's a cul-de-sac, and you can sell them as pretty much as a portfolio, how I bought it, but you can package it different and you can sell it to maybe a hedge fund or a bigger investor or bigger group as a 24-plex, 24-unit apartment complex. So you can present it that way, or you can improve them individually, which they already are performing great, and you can sell them individually. You can sell a fourplex, which is a lot faster to move. A fourplex is a lot faster to move than a 24-unit apartment complex. When you're looking to sell a 24-unit apartment complex or anything around that size, you're probably looking for a little more sophisticated buyer, someone that understands a little bit of the industry, a little more of the finances, is financially ready for a purchase of that size. When you are selling a fourplex, you can also sell it to a sophisticated buyer, but now your pool of buyers increases drastically because you can sell it to an individual investor, or you can sell it to a few investors or family members that are just looking to invest in something smaller, or you can sell it to a traditional buyer that is looking for them to occupy one of the units, and they can have the other 3 units or the other 3 tenants in that building pay for their mortgage. So your pool of buyers is a lot bigger than dealing with a bigger or mid-sized apartment complex.
So is your strategy currently, is it to keep it residential so you guys can, if you need to, sell off, or is the game plan to potentially make it into one big thing?
Yeah, so that's a good question, and we're not gonna change anything. We're gonna keep both doors open.
How long do you have? Is there like a time frame where you have to make a move?
We have 8 years to make a decision if we want. It's just mainly because that's when the seller financing comes due. But at that time, we can make a decision then. But in reality, the 2 doors remain open if we wanna sell or liquidate in the future. We can always go to the residential route or go the bigger package it a different way route. So you don't need a lot of experience to get into multifamily. I will say if you're gonna jump big to a 24-unit apartment complex, 30-unit or 50-unit apartment complex, it will always be good to have a partner with you. That will be my recommendation. Do you have to have one? No, you don't have to, but my recommendation is it will be good if for the first or second deal in a bigger mid-sized apartment complex, you have a partner to help you with the decision making. Now, let's say that you wanna start on your own. So let's say that I'm single again, and I don't have a lot of I don't have a lot of restrictions when it comes to the place that I'm going to put my wife and my kids, right? Which I do now because I do have 3 kids. But if I will be single again, this is what I will probably start. If you're looking to buy a house, I will house hack, which is roommates, right? Have another 3 bedrooms that will pay for your mortgage. So that will be my first move. The second move that I will make after that is, instead of a house, I will look for a small multi-unit. So I will look for a duplex, a triplex, or a fourplex, okay? The fourplex is better because now you have more revenue or money coming your way. So what I will do is buy a fourplex, move into one of the units, and have tenants on the other three paying me monthly rent. So if you do that, now you have other people paying for your mortgage. Here's the other thing too, is if you do it that way, this is gonna be your primary residence, right? When you get a primary residence loan, and instead of an investment loans, the terms are much better. You don't need 20 to 30% down, you only need 3 to 5% down, okay? So if you're buying a $800,000 fourplex, you need $24,000, right? And instead of 140,000, whatever that is.
It's pretty close. I think it's 120,000.
Correct.
Yeah.
Not only that, okay. Not only the interest rates are, not only the down payment is lower, but also the interest rates are going to be much better on a on your primary residence than on an investment property. Honestly, you can find a smaller multi-unit everywhere. You just need a good real estate agent, and hopefully you can find someone that is not just trying to make a sale or a commission, that is willing to educate you on areas, on counties, on law, on rental laws, or landlord laws, and all that. So find hopefully a realtor or broker that is willing to not only make a commission, but also give you a little bit of coaching on that. The good thing about our community is that we have thousands of members willing to help, right? So it's not hard to find them. The easiest route will be a realtor or a broker, and then the other easy route will also be the community. I'm pretty sure if you post in the community, I'm looking to buy the next fourplex, duplex in the Phoenix area, Scottsdale or Mesa or whatever, I'm pretty sure the community will find you. Let's say that you're looking for a fourplex as your first investment. I think that's the best way to go, to be honest. But we need to find one unit is vacant, so you can move in, right? And you can find a good area in Mesa for about maybe 700,000 to 800,000. Okay, you're gonna need a 3% to 5% down, which is $21,000 to $30,000. Okay, your mortgage, I don't know, I don't have a mortgage calculator with me, but let's say that your mortgage is around $4,000, just to throw it out there. So the other units are probably going to be renting for around $1,250 each unit, right? So that's what, $3,750 that you have coming in. On a $4,000 mortgage, how much is now your rent? Like $300. Yeah, you. I don't think you'll find a rental, a place to live for $300. Plus, you're building equity. The market eventually always goes up 4% annually. So you building equity. You have other three tenants paying your debt down. You're building even faster, equity faster. Plus, you have tax benefits. Plus, you have the saving a lot of money in rent. You will eventually cash flow, but you can make it appreciate. You can make the deal a lot sweeter, a lot faster. So let's say that these are a mix of 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom. Probably that's what I will advise you to buy. 4 bedrooms, 1 bathroom on each of the 4 units, right? So let's say that you're a single guy and you not only do that, plus you have an additional bedroom now for a roommate. And you have the roommate pay you, let's say $800 for your bedroom, right? So now instead of you coming out of pocket with $250 every month, you have $550 in your pocket every month. You're probably going to be breaking even, but you live for free. So my personal rule, and this is me, people might have different ideas about this, but my personal rule is I always want to have around $7,000 available cushion per fourplex, right? At any given time. Probably you will need more, but about $7,000 every property that I own gives me peace of mind. The most expensive thing that could happen that is realistic will be to have an AC unit die. And my guys will replace those units for probably $5,000 to $7,000, right? The other next expensive thing might be water heaters, appliances, stuff like that. $7,000 will come pretty handy. You don't want to put yourself in a position where you're not ready for things that will, it's not if, it will be when. So what we always do with my clients or my own purchases is I do a 10-day due diligence for a fourplex. It's more than plenty. And I bring a professional inspector. He will probably take about 4 to 6 hours in the fourplex and check every single thing, including electrical, plumbing, appliances, AC unit, roofing, sewer lines, and electrical features and all that. You want to do that. That could cost you about $1,000, but it's completely worth your investment because now you know exactly what you're dealing with and you can plan for that expense. Or you feel comfortable enough that you might say, hey, I'm going to fix that within the next 2 years. I'm going to have to be saving some of that cash flow so I can pay for those items. Yeah, I would recommend creative finance over any other type of financing. 4plexes, or even single family residence. I think it's a way for you to be able to go farther, last longer in the race, and not run out of air or capital, right? Creative financing can give you the opportunity to keep going and not being limited on having to save up all the down payments. And also the banks might put limits on how many mortgages you can have out at any given time. Everyone is more used to traditional financing. We're trained since we're young to keep up with your debts, which you should. Don't get in debt. Pay on time, build credit so you can eventually buy a house, have a stable job so you can have a stable income so the banks are going to like you. So that's in our culture, that's in our DNA. So everyone is probably raised the same way. So when you start mentioning creative financing, some people think it's a scam. And in reality, if you track back history, that's how the deals were made back in the day on payments, or interest rates were 18%, and you have to find a point where buyers and sellers are still trading and making money or buying or selling things. So they make internal agreements, and that's what seller financing is, finding a point where the buyer and the sellers are comfortable and a property is able to transfer to a new owner. So just think out of the box. I mean, if you are looking to buy a property, I think if you have more tools in your belt, I think you're able to build faster than having only a hammer and a nail. I feel like as you get into bigger deals with bigger units, I think creative finance is they might call it something different, but actually it's pretty common. And when you are in between 1 to 30 units, people are skeptical. People have a lot of questions, but I think there's a lot of misunderstanding. And you have to, as a buyer or as a broker, you have to be an educator. You might have to teach them before you put an offer in one of those properties, and don't tell them that you're going to teach them, but you have to teach them because they don't know, and they're not willing to tell you that they don't know.
How did you, if you could walk me through the story, because how did you find it? How did you use a broker, or did you just find it on Crexy or something? You just came across it one day, somebody emailed you, and then what was the original idea? And kind of walk me through kind of how things kind of escalated into this wonderful deal you got.
Yeah, I was looking for. I always look at fourplexes. They've done so good for me and my family. They've done so good for us financially that I'm always looking at fourplexes. So that's how I came across this deal, is finding a fourplex. And then I went to see it right away, and I realized that the same owners had 6 buildings in the same cul-de-sac.
Do they all have different offers out there?
They had the broker had the fourplex listed in the MLS as a fourplex, and then on Crexy they had it listed as a 24-unit apartment complex, right? So because Crexy is more commercial, MLS is more residential.
Got it, okay.
So I talked to the broker right away, and he said, well, it's a fourplex. If you're able to perform and present a good offer, just so you know, the seller, which I already knew, but he told me the seller already also owns other 5 buildings in that same cul-de-sac.
How many buildings are in that cul-de-sac?
7.
So 5 out of 7 are owned.
Six out of 7. Yeah. So I went to see one. They had 5 more. But I said, hey, what would it take to get all of them? Buy them as a package deal. That's when the communication started. And I think the takeaway of this story is don't give up after the first no. So each fourplex was $850,000. So for all 6 of them, it would have been $5.1 million. So I asked the broker if I buy all of them, I could either have a killer deal or they will finance it to me. And he said, well, I mean, if you same response that you will get from any other broker saying, hey, if you bring cash to the table, they will give you a killer deal. Or I don't think they're gonna go financing. I don't think they're gonna go seller financing. So that's the first no that I got. I don't think they will get the broker. Yeah. And then he said, well, yeah, no, think about it. Here are some numbers and some ideas. And then the second phone call, I took it as a maybe. It was another softer no, so I took it as a maybe. I wanted to show him that I want to show him that I'm serious, right? I want to break the ice with them, and then I want to know a second or a third phone call tells me as an agent or as a broker that party is interested. So after the second phone call, I wanted to build a rapport. I wanted I wanted trust between us, and I knew that a lot of people are skeptical, and I knew this was the case with this broker. So I proposed after the second call is, hey, do you mind if I stop by your office and we discuss this face to face? He actually loved the idea, which is probably a lot better. I know that's not always the case, but it was a great meeting that I had with him at his office. That's where you are able to build more trust. He was able to know who I was. He was able to ask me a little bit about my story. I was able to ask him about his business, and we got to know each other. I feel like trust is a big thing between brokers, between buyers and agents, between buyers and sellers. Kind of first meeting with the broker was kind of like, let's get to know each other. That's my goal. Let's just get to know each other. I wanted to also test the waters, see how he was feeling about the deals, the seller, why is the seller selling, thinking about the number, or what needs. And then you kind of have to create yourself a second step or a next step all the time. You can't hang up the phone or leave an office without a clear next step. So the next step was like, hey, I'll bring a proposal to the next meeting with you. First meeting, I found out what the seller wanted to accomplish. Also that they wanted to retire, and that they wanted to still enjoy the income, but they didn't want to deal with the tenants anymore. So I found out in the first meeting. And then I created a second opportunity or a second meeting by saying, hey, if I put something on paper with my plan, but covering their needs, can I be here tomorrow or Monday? I don't remember how that went down. And then I had a second meeting with the broker, looking at more structures and numbers. So now that we knew each other, it was easier to get into the weeds of the deal. So anything that you do in life, including selling a property, has a motivation, right? So what's moving you to do what you do? What's moving me to look into apartment complexes? There's a why behind, right? So what's the reasoning of them wanting to sell a property that is cash flowing? There have to be a motivation, there have to be a why. And I love Pace's story about the bunnies. So find the bunnies means find the motivation or the needs, or the needs that create that motivation. So the first meeting with the broker was, what's their bunnies, meaning what are the problems that they have, and how can I relocate or rehome those bunnies, right? And the bunnies for them were like, hey, we actually like the cash flow. We actually like the money coming in on a monthly basis, but we're done with collecting rents, fixing toilets, fixing the property, maintenance and all that. So, okay, I detected or identified the bunnies, right? So for the second meeting, now my structure, numbers, offer is going to be based on rehoming those bunnies. So if you meet with a broker, a seller, and you come to that meeting only thinking about what you want to get out of that meeting and what information you need, it comes across as an interrogation, right? So if you're, well, tell me this, what's your bunny? What's like, why do you have to rehome them? Why do you have to find a new home? Why? If you keep it conversational, tell me about your story. What does that mean to you? Why is this a legacy to you? So it's a little bit of, and let me tell you about my story. Let me tell you about where I come from. Let me tell you why I would be interested on knowing or learning about this property or the history behind it. So there's a lot of give and take, right? So I think that's what Pace does, and he does a great job, is what's beneficial to you, I'll give it to you, but also I'll get what I need, So the information and communication comes, that way of communication and information goes a long way. So I presented the plan to the broker in the second meeting. I said, this is how we're gonna rehome those bunnies, right? That's how we're gonna find a solution to the problems. And he looks at it, and of course it was conversational. We already knew each other. It was kind of fun to be with him. And he says, "I think you're crazy, but I'll present it," right? If I would have come strong on the first call or a first email and say, "Just this is my offer," the reason why he's willing to present it is because now there is a background, a trust, and a relationship, in a story, right? So he said, "I'll present it," and then after that we get on the phone a million times. It felt like a million times, but by the fourth or fifth time that we get on the phone, I said, "I do have." This is to the other broker. His name is Steve. I said, "Steve, I think you and I can be going back and forth on numbers, questions, and more numbers for another 3 to 4 weeks. If I'm able to, if you're able to have, have a meeting with you, myself, and the seller, we can probably resolve all these questions and concerns in 45 minutes to an hour, instead of 3 weeks, you know." And he said, I think this is interesting, but I'll arrange that." So the third meeting was with the seller, with there's two sellers. One owns a sibling that owns 3 buildings, and another sibling that owns the other 3 buildings. So it was a good meeting. It was out of the box, unconventional for the real estate traditions. So we made a lot of progress in probably an hour. Like, we had a deal on paper, a good structure, and then our job was to put that, as brokers, to put that on paper.
So you got the structure. How long was the meeting? 45 minutes to an hour?
Yeah, sorry, I skipped a step. The first meeting with the seller, second meeting with the seller, third meeting with the seller felt more like a interview than a present your offer. They wanted to know how I was going to take care of their legacy. So it was more like they wanted to know about me, my family, my business, my track record, and my portfolio, intentions. But then I realized right away that what they really wanted to know is how I was going to take care of their baby, because this is a legacy that they got from mom and dad.
How long has it been in the family?
Since the 70s.
Wow.
Yeah. So it changed for me because I had to be a little more sensitive to the fact that these are a legacy, and they were, and try to honor that legacy that came from mom and dad. So all my business plan and my proposals, I had to keep in mind that these are not only buildings and numbers to them. There is a little bit of sentimental attachment to that. So all the conversations, ideas, and numbers and things now need to be translated into a contract. So there was a lot of paperwork with contract and reviews and all that. And then we finally get everything in writing the way that that both parties felt comfortable with and felt comfortable. And then we were under contract, and then the due diligence period starts, and that's when I want to make sure that the property that I'm buying is in good shape. So I bring, and instead of paying a professional inspector, I brought my contractors. So I brought electricians, plumbers, roofers, and I wanted them to be very specific on things, and also give me a quote on if they find anything.
That's it? Deal's done?
No, so we found some stuff that I think it was worth additional conversations because there's some repairs and stuff that needed to happen. And then something very interesting happened. Their CPA got involved in the deal because of a conversation that they had or a question that they had for their CPA, and he pretty much said that the deal wasn't structured on a way that it will be reasonable, or the CPA got involved, and he said that it will be not within the guidelines of the IRS. So, which there's a little bit of there's some IRS regulations that make the 0% financing a little tricky, and that kind of shut the deal down right away. And the broker called me or texted me and say, "You have to call me. We have an issue." So that's not good when you receive this text. I get on the phone right away. I don't, I want to face the storm. And I said, "Tell me what it is." And he said the CPA is advising them to cancel because of A, B, and C. And I said, I never had a deal with that before. I never had a problem with that before. I've done deals like that. So, but I want the deal to be good for both of us. So I'm going to go to the drawing board and create a new structure for the deal, if that's okay with you. And he appreciated that. If you're thinking about selling a property that has a lot of equity, especially if it's an investment property, you want to run the numbers through your CPA before you get into a contract for questions, potential capital gain, taxes, and all that. And I feel like they did it a little late, but actually I used that opportunity to restructure the deal and maybe make it a little more enticing for me, since now the CPA was advising us that the loan had to have an interest rate.
So you're saying that the deal got better?
I had to make the deal better.
Yeah. Is that typically what people do? Because usually when someone blows up the numbers, the deal doesn't get better; it gets usually worse for the person trying to buy. Typically.
Well, there was a chance. There was a chance and a possibility of that, and I was ready to walk away if it wasn't the right deal. I don't buy a property just to buy a property. I don't buy a property just to add doors to my portfolio. I do want to perform for my partners. I do want to perform for myself, for my family, and myself. So there's a reason why I'm buying that property. So if the numbers don't work out, I'm walking away. I don't think I would have done this deal without my partners that I have in the deal and the community. And I feel like everyone that found about our deal got really excited and was cheering us on. Early in the process, I brought my partner Brian McMullen into the deal. Him and I are partners on a lot of different deals when it comes to private money lending. That's what he does mainly, and he does a great job at that. He's recognized in the SubTo community for doing private money lending, and he's an amazing guy. I was doing private money. We had meetings every week on private money lending, and I said, "Brian, let's put away the private money loan stuff today, because I have to present something to you." And he thought that I was crazy, that I came across a 24-unit apartment complex. And then in his team, there is Taylor, who the three of us work together, doing a great job and doing private money lending. And then from day one, they both not only believed in me, but cheered me on and got excited about the deal and started raising money and raising capital out of their own funds and also out of their investors. So the three of us worked really closely with packaging the deal, advertising the deal, and all that. So Brian has been instrumental in this purchase, and he's probably the main partner in the deal. And then from there, he also took it to Owners Club, and from there also I had a relationship in the community that I built. The last 11 months, and some of those relationships that I created. Everyone is amazing. The main players here are Dr. Johnny Montiero and Dr. Corny Johnson, and they are amazing people as well. So I feel like with Brian and Johnny and Corny, I feel like that was perfect partners to have. All of us have different superpowers, and they got excited about the deal, and they started helping me promoting the deal. A huge accomplishment that we had as a team was to be selected for Deal Maker, and Johnny was the one that came up with the idea and did a great job at presenting a Deal Maker.
What's Deal Maker for the audience?
So the SubTo community has this amazing event once a month, and members of the community get to apply and get picked to present the deal Shark style, like the TV show Shark Tank, to usually Space, Jamil, and Matt Sorensen, and they get to promote it, to pitch it to them, but also probably another 200 community members on the deal, and the deal gets a little bit challenged, and also we are able to raise money. It's kind of a fun and interesting event, and I personally love it. And Johnny did an amazing job at pitching the deal. He did a terrific job. So all of us were there, all the partners were there, with a little bit of being nervous, but also cheering him on. And our deal got exposed to the whole SubTo community, 15,000 members, and then 200 members in the audience. And then Pace, Jamil, and Matt gave us amazing feedback. So we raised some of the money that we needed, which ended up being $1 million to close the deal. And we raised money from Dealmaker. We raised money from some other members of the community, other contacts that we had. So again, is the SubTo community is fuel to your fire. It doesn't matter if you might feel like you have a little fire or even a spark, or you might have a big flame. The SubTo community will make you explode if you get involved and you attend the networking events and meet amazing people. And that's how it was for me. I've been always thinking on saving for the next down payment to increase my portfolio. And the SubTo community gave me a completely different perspective, as this is not just you on your own. This is a whole family cheering for you, and also bringing other skills to increase your goal, to come to your goals faster. The new deal structure was actually better than the first one. The only difference here is that I'm paying interest, and I wasn't paying interest before, right? So that's the only added part of the equation, is now we're dealing with interest, which is okay, because we cash flow much better. So we receive cash flow much faster and better than the structure that we had before. So we have more equity from day one. We're buying the deal $600,000 less than what we originally wanted to pay for, and the only thing is we paying interest. But other than that, actually, the deal is better.
So is it true that the day you got ownership, they gave you a check for $72,000?
Yeah.
Is that normal?
If you structure it that way, it's normal. You can structure a deal whatever way you want, and if you want to walk away with $72,000, you can, or $100,000 you can, or $150,000 you can. It's all about how you're going to structure the deal, and there's nothing wrong with moving the pieces a different way. And I'm not saying the way that I did it is the only possible way. It's the way that it worked for me. Out of all the deals that I've done, this is probably the most creative for me. So if you talk to someone that is outside of the community and outside of the real estate world, right? It almost sounds a little scary. I'm going to be a landlord. It sounds scary, right? But there is so many benefits about being a landlord, and there is so many benefits about being a property owner, that it's just that buying and investing in real estate is just makes sense. But it's also one of the better vehicles to increase your net worth, right? And for someone that never done it or hasn't done it yet, my suggestion will be like, take the first step, be either a junior partner in one of these deals, or buy your first rental, or buy your first duplex. Start small, have it for at least 12 months, see what things you need to learn. It's like going to the gym and starting with smaller weights, right? For the first time. And then you can look at and buy a 8-plex or 10-plex, whatever, once you have experience with 2 doors, 4 doors, or stuff like that. But do something. Take a step. Don't just absorb all this information that you see online. Like, okay, what's my single step that I'm going to take today, right? Like one step. If I have to do today, what I'm going to do, I'm going to probably go, I don't know, I'm just throwing ideas out there. I'm going to call a broker, and I'm going to ask him to show me the fourplex. Like, can you meet me at the property and show me the fourplex? Are you going to lose, do you need to invest money to do that? Do you need to have a bank account full of money? Do you need to? No, like you can, now you're going to feel like you at least took a step. Even if you rented, like you've never been an owner before, right? You've been always a renter. But now you understand the relationship between a property manager and a tenant, or the relationship between a landlord and a tenant. Well, just think the opposite, right? Okay, let me see this from the view of the landlord. I want people to take care of the unit, and I want people to pay me, right? So let's just make the switch. But it's not hard. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not hard. I think people think that buying duplex or fourplex, I think, is so far down the road, and it's not. And also people think that you need 20 to 30% down, and then when you join the community, when you're in the trenches, you know that that's not necessary. That's more a tradition, more of only thinking inside a box, and then you have opportunities that you don't need your own money. You don't need a bank. You don't need to have a stable income. You don't need a good credit. There are things that you can do without having all the check boxes that that they teach you from the beginning, from day one. You can do it my way, which is pretty hard and long. Like, right? It took me 13 years doing one deal at a time. I do have a good number of doors, but then I think joining the community.
You could go back and do it all over again, and you knew about the community, would you?
I would be today probably 3 times or 4 times the amount of doors that I have if I would have done what I did with a 24 unit, if I would have done that from day one. Because the other route is you do everything by yourself and you have to wait until you have 20 to 30% down, and that might take you a year to 2 years, and that's what I did. But then when I came with a 24 unit apartment complex to idea to my wife, she said, well, wait a minute, we don't have $1 million in our bank account. So that's the value of the community.
My name is Launi Godoy, and I've lived in Queen Creek for the last 20 years, and I'm married to Damian Godoy.
Are you a professional in the real estate game in any ways, and if so, how?
Well, I'm actually not a professional. I don't have my license. I'm not a realtor by any means, but I've seen a lot of things just being married to who I'm married to, right? He's been doing real estate for years. So I know a little bit, but I'm not a professional.
Osmosis.
Yes, absolutely, yes.
When you guys met, was he already in the game with real estate?
You know what, when we first met, he was not. It was a little after we got married. He started becoming more interested in real estate. And for me, I knew nothing about it and I was terrified. But he slowly got his feet wet a little bit, and I feel like we've grown a lot. Me mostly, just with being more relaxed and taking bigger risks. Or even buying our first home, I was terrified because in my mind I'm thinking we have to have so much money, it was very scary. I grew up just with the whole traditional, yes, you save your money, you do want to buy your own home because that's the most responsible way. But then I was thinking, oh, this is like a 30-year loan. All of these things that it was just very foreign to me. And I didn't ever feel like I had a lot of knowledge in that. So it was scary. But slowly
So he comes to you, he's like, hey, I want to buy not great homes and then turn them into great homes. And you're like, I don't even know what that is.
Right. I had no idea. I'm like flipping. I'm like, okay, how do we financially do this? Like, this is scary. Like, we're barely we're just in our home. Finally, we have our own little home. And I had no idea what that would entail. And it was really scary because there's a lot of risk. But I feel like because of how he is, he's very knowledgeable. He wants to make sure his family is okay. And he's very smart with how he does things. So I feel like in that I could trust. And it was, one at a time we would take things, and it worked out, and I was grateful, and it was awesome and exciting. So I was more willing to take the next step, right? To go for the next flip and realize that yes, there was risk, but there was so many more benefits. I would stage the houses so when it would be time to sell. Yeah, so I would go and I would stage them, and I would help with the decorating, right? With picking the floor, the cabinets, give my little 2 cents, but yes, absolutely. So, and that was fun for me too. I enjoyed doing that.
Cut to 2011-12.
Oh.
We'll skip over what everyone knows happened between 2000.
Yes.
When it seemed like the world was ending for all of us.
All of us.
He comes back to you and says, hey, remember that thing I did? What if I did it again?
Yeah.
What kind of just starts going through your head there?
It was terrifying. It was terrifying more terrifying because we had lost everything. But at the same time, I knew that he knew what he was doing. And I feel like because we lost everything, we learned a lot. Unfortunately, having to lose something, that's maybe how you learn. So I knew we were in a much better place mentally and with knowledge, and maybe we knew what not to do, how to do it better. So I was still nervous, but I wanted to support him, and so we did.
So you start doing the rental properties, slowly, calculated.
Yes.
It's obviously the market completely turned back around.
Yes.
This is pre-COVID.
Right.
So everything's beautiful.
Right.
Then he comes to you and says, hey, you know how we buy like one door? What about 4 of them or 3 of them?
Right.
Does the stress come back? Like, what's your kind of thought? Like, okay, multifamily. Did you know anything about multifamily?
A little bit, because he would share with me stuff that he would learn, and so I knew a little bit about it. And he would explain the process, obviously, to me. He'd be like, "Okay, this is what we're going to be doing. This is what we're going to face." And he would explain it to me and help me understand in a way that I'm like, okay, that makes sense, right? Because it does. Multifamily makes so much more sense, and if people are able to do it, then do it, right? So as far as the nerves, there was still a little bit of nerves, but I'm like, oh, this makes sense. We should absolutely take that step and maybe look into doing a 3-plex or a 4-plex. So I remember it was almost a year ago that he became involved with the SubTo community, Damian did. And he told me about this incredible community and how impressed he was from the very beginning at how supportive he felt that PACE was. That he just felt like he wanted to help everybody, right? And he said to me, he's like, I don't feel it's like all about the money. Like these guys, like these huge investors, these people who want to do stuff like this, it's all about money for their pockets, right? And he was really impressed that it wasn't that way with PACE. I really do. I trusted him completely. I feel like it's at this point, right? At this point, he knows what he's doing, but just with how impressed he was, and he would tell me about going to the different events that he was attending and explain kind of what the community is about, right? And so, no, I completely trusted him, and I was excited for him to see where this could go.
How and when does he bring up, like, hey, you know how we do the 4 doors? What if I times it by 6?
A lot. I thought he was crazy. So yeah, it was a few months ago. Oh my goodness, it feels like it's been a while, but no, he just said, he usually starts the conversation off with, so I have something to tell you. And I'm always like, okay. And I've learned to just kind of brace myself. Honestly, there's only been a few times where but that wasn't really his fault, the whole crash of the century, but right? But he presented the plan. He goes, listen, I found, because I know he's always looking for fourplex. He's always looking to find ways for us to do better. And he's always looking for ways to grow. So he came and brought this to me, and he said, hey, I found something. And I said, that's a nice thought. There's no, in my mind, because I hadn't learned all that, he'd been going to all of these things with PACE. But I'm like, there's no way we could, a 24 unit, there's no way, And he goes, no, I think I can make it work. And I'm like, okay, show me what you got. And so that's kind of how it started.
Did he kind of like, it sounds like he has good communication, so like, is he making sure that you were in the know every step of the way, like what's going on? Or was he, was he stressing out on the phone? You're like, no,
he manages stress so well. But I feel like for me, he knows me well enough to know what I need to know. Like, he's like, okay, I'm gonna prepare it to this point for her and give her the bullet points of what she needs so that she feels good, right? So I feel like we've got a great relationship in that he knows what I need to know to make it so that I'm comfortable in situations. And so that's what he would do. I feel like he created, he met with the broker, and he would always let me know, like, hey, I'm going to go meet with the broker. I'm like, okay, just let me know how it goes. But then working on the deal, we've been married, it'll be 20 years come November. Thank you. And we've been in real estate for so long, but even this process for me, when he presented the plan to me, I feel like I kind of understand the real estate world, but this was this was completely new for me. I didn't even know that you could do stuff like this. Like the creativity part, I thought we always had to go to the bank. I thought we always had to get our W-2s. We always have to do background checks. We always have to do, right? But no, this was a completely new story, completely new plan for me, which for me was really exciting to know that you could do it this way, right? So for me, watching him go through the process, get all of it structured, And then him coming to me and say, okay, that didn't work. Their CPA came back and said no. And I'm like, okay, well, but knowing him, I knew that wasn't the end. He wasn't going to just kind of roll over and be like, that's over. He felt good about it from day one. He's like, I'm going to try. I'm going to keep going. I think we can still make it work. So he restructured the plan. And I don't even feel like I still understand all of the little pieces, all of the things that go into it. There's so much that goes into it. But I feel like being involved in the community, like he mentioned before, like they all have superpowers, right? And when they come together, like they can all help each other. I think it's incredible.
Was there anybody in the community or maybe even the partners that were kind of like, that you thought did a great job of keeping, like maybe did additional keeping you in the loop, or that like?
Well, I feel like maybe not necessarily keeping me in the loop, speaking with them directly, but I just appreciated the support that I knew he was getting from his partner, Brian, and just, and anybody else in the deal. Like he would constantly show me, and you're gonna have to edit this because I don't remember what it's called, where the guy, Johnny, presented.
Oh, deal maker.
The deal maker, you know, he told me about that and just how excited that that was for him to be involved in that. Just seeing them, and then, like I said, his partner, I feel like I was just super impressed with how everyone was so supportive and really I feel like everyone wants everyone else to succeed. You know what I mean? So I thought that was really, I think that's new.
Was there any point that you got those old nerves? I'm assuming it's the $1 million, but I want to hear it from you.
Yeah. I feel like for me, I'm like, and this is where we differ, and he's so much stronger and better than me, which is awesome. If I hear like 2 or 3 no's, I'm like, okay, then that means no. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Or I'm like, oh, that's $1 million. I don't have $1 million. That means no. Whereas he's like, interesting. I think we can make this work, right? So I feel like where I maybe get nervous, I feel like one of his superpower strengths is, oh, that's okay to be nervous, but look, that's not the end. Let's shift our mindset and let's come at it at a different angle. And that's what he did. And so I was like, okay, let's do this. So, but yeah, coming to me is like, I've got the deal. We just need to come up with $1 million. And I'm like, oh. Any
plan? I didn't get to ask you more about the property, but any plan? Like, do you have any plans of like how you guys are going to be making the units? Because it's, I mean, when you said it's built in the 70s, I immediately was like, okay, that makes wood trim,
right?
Like that kind of stuff. So, are there any plans to kind of really update it at all, or is it very minimal at that?
As of right now, from what I'm understanding, I feel like it's okay right now because I feel like the previous owners really did a wonderful job of maintenance, right? Keeping it really nice. And I feel like with us doing our due diligence, we went through the property to make sure there was no major issues that we were going to be hit with right off the bat. I feel like slowly we will start to maybe make it a little bit more up to date as needed. But as of right now, I feel like it's doing okay. It's doing okay for right now. Really in anything with our relationship and our marriage. Damian is always, before he does anything, I feel like there's just this mutual respect of he always brings it to me first and says, hey, I'm really passionate about this. I really feel like it would be a good fit for our family, regardless of if it's real estate or anything, right? I feel like just that mutual respect of communicating, that's huge. And really taking into account my concerns, right? But then also, even though that was scary for me, and even though I know I wasn't going to be the person actually becoming a member, knowing because of the communication, because of the relationship that we have, I knew that I could trust him, and knowing that he's going to be joining this thing. I feel like for anyone in this situation, it just comes down to open communication, letting your partner know, okay, this is what's going on, and being involved. I'm not a member of it, but I try to be involved. I'll ask him about any type of event that he goes to. I want to know what's going on because that interests me, right? I feel like I can still be a support to him and have it be an interest to me, even though I'm not in it. Does that make sense?
Let's say you're talking to someone's partner who their partner has brought this opportunity to them. They have no idea about real estate. They don't know who Pace Morby is. Their knee-jerk reaction is probably, it's a scam, why are you doing this? What would you say to them? Not saying like, trust your partner.
Right.
But like, is there like, what advice would you give to them to at least do their own due diligence? Like,
Sure.
Like, what would you say to someone like that who's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know who this person is.
Right.
But I love my partner. I just.
Right. I would absolutely encourage them to do their due diligence. Like if they don't know anything about real estate, learn a little bit. If they don't know who Pace Morby is, okay, you can find him right on social media. You can find him anywhere, and take the time to get to know what he's talking about, right? And then, you know, if their spouse doesn't really have a lot of information or knowledge per se about real estate, I would encourage them to first like do their due diligence about this group. But man, I would encourage them 100% to become involved, because I have honestly found nothing but good, supportive people in it. And again, it's not about, all right, we're gonna do another meetup, but you're gonna have to get out your wallet and shell out thousands of more dollars, right? I feel like it's all been like helpful, and you're 100% worth it. 100% worth it. I would say it's absolutely worth it. I would be very real with them and say, listen, it's not always 100% risk-free, right? I would want them to know what they're getting into. I would hope that they would do research and understand a little bit more about real estate. You don't have to know everything, but then also I would say get connected with people who do know, right? We all have talents, we all have gifts, and they're all different, and that's for a reason, and it could be for your benefit, right? I'm not good at certain things, but I am going to be friends with people who are, so that we can both benefit. Just like I might be good at something that they're not, but that we both can benefit. So I would encourage them to learn as much as they can and get connected with people who do know and who they can trust, but absolutely get involved in it.
You guys have kids.
Yes.
Who are now like preteens, teenagers?
Yeah, teenagers, yeah.
Do you see, because of the family business, like has there been any like effect or like extra bonus because of what you guys are doing and SubTo that they are starting to rub off on them? Like, are any one of them getting into real estate or investing in some way, or like do they have a good understanding, or are they just completely like?
No, actually, they're always asking questions, especially my oldest and even our middle, my oldest daughter and our middle, like our son. They'll ask questions all the time, because you know Damian will be gone at meetings or whatever, and they'll be like, "Where were you?" And so he'll talk to them. Our oldest daughter, especially, you know, we've talked to her about possibly getting her real estate license when she turns 18. But they're absolutely involved, and they think it's incredible. They see the potential, maybe not on the level, you know, that we understand that they can see, but I feel like Damian's done a great job explaining to them on their level what they can understand, but also encouraging those questions so that they can grow. So absolutely.
Exposed.
Oh, for sure.
Some really good lessons that
Yes.
obviously do not teach us in
No, which I wish that they would. Oh my gosh, I wish they would.
Final thoughts on just are you hopeful for the future on this deal? Just what the experience brought, and just final thoughts.
Oh, final thoughts. I feel like, you know, it's been awesome. It's a little bit of a roller coaster ride, especially the last 3 months of going with this. I feel like Damian and I have been like ships in the night passing. Like he's been working so hard trying to get it all put together. But it's exciting. I feel like there's so much potential in the real estate market, in the real estate world. My only advice, like I said before, is get involved with people. Like, to be able to, what's it called where Damian, you always say that. Sorry, you're gonna have to cut this. Network with people, you know, don't be afraid and don't be shy to ask questions. That's how you're gonna learn. And I don't think anyone's gonna turn you down or make you feel less than. If they do, then that's not your people, right? Find your people who are gonna help you and support you. And I feel like that's really been evident in what I've seen with the SubTo group, for sure.